What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Roman Emperor's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Unique Toys Nero, which is their take on Bay vs. Galvatron, I believe. This is on loan to me from Nate. Shout out to him. I appreciate it. I've had mixed feelings about Unique Toys movie stuff in the past. Loved the Challenger, hated the Megatron. So hopefully this will be towards the Challenger side of things. There are a couple confusing things about it. We are going to talk about it. There's a lot of moving pieces here, which I guess we should expect with a Bay vs. piece. But in order to get there, we got to start with accessories. So he gets his like hand blaster thing, some silver paint kind of coated finish, so that looks nice, and then the copper paint in the center, all that looks good. These two tabs on the inside here will fit on the two tabs on his hand right there. So just get her in and plug it in and you're good to go. You get two sets of die cast, I'm guessing, missiles, which are good enough. There's no paint on them. I guess they don't need to be. It blends right in with all the kind of silvers anyway on the piece. In robot mode, you can kind of get them to stay in the forearm if you have it balanced properly, but they don't really. Otherwise, you got to use the hand, and then they're facing kind of a weird way. So that's kind of a bummer. You also get a figure of me without my mask on in wedding attire, which is nice. And I'm guessing it's some character from the movie. I have no idea who it is. Don't tell me. I don't care. It's a ball peg from the neck into the chest. So you get some up and down. You get some side to side. You get a swivel. And his sunglasses are painted on. Shirt silver, which is a little flossy actually for my taste. I wouldn't actually wear that to the wedding. Ball pegs for the shoulders. That pretty much just get you the swivel and a little outward movement. And then we have no waist swivel, which is fine. Nothing for the wrist. The thighs or hips are also little ball pegs. Get you out a little bit, mainly forward and back. And then you get a knee on a hinge that gets you 90 degrees. And I guess that's fine. All right, so let's look at the figure. We'll get in close on this head because there's a lot of sculpt work going on there. Because it's Bay. Not Bay, but Bayverse, if you know what I'm saying. There's moving pieces here too. So like, where was it? Yeah, these pieces, like the eyebrow, or just this one, maybe it's just not in all the way. I thought it was a feature, because there are a lot of like moving pieces to this guy. I would guess the face is accurate. It's hard for me to tell, because I don't know exactly what he looks like, but I would guess that it's accurate. The head's on a ball peg. It's limited up. It's good down. The swivel is actually a little limited because of these shoulder pieces, and I found myself wanting a little bit more when I was doing photos and stuff. So I don't know how I feel about that. The whole thing is painted. On top of this silver coating, we have the metallic blue and the red, and I think a little black in the mouth, so to speak, so that looks good. Moving down, we have gold, of course, silver and gold, along with some copper here in the center of the chest, some copper elements down here, some blue. Like, it's painted and sculpted to the nines. There's no doubt about it. There's these bits, which can be a little obnoxious to kind of maneuver the hips around. Let me try to show you what I mean. The hips themselves are universals. However, they're hinged inside of the pelvis, so they can actually move forward and back. And then there's the actual ratchet movement. And using all of them and manipulating these, you can get the poses that you want. And we'll show some of those in the final thoughts. But it's just not the most user-friendly experience. All right, the shoulders. We have ratchets. They're universals. Forward and back, no problem. Out to the side, we do have a hinge with a spring-loaded shoulder plate, which is kind of cool. Get you out to 90 degrees, no problem. Let me back the camera out a bit. The shoulder pad has gold and then the metallic blue on it. Bicep swivel, once again, tons of sculpt work. We have an elbow. It's really tight and ratcheted, but get you almost the full range. The bicep also disconnects, I think, which can even, yeah, there, and get you the whole range for like cheating for a photo or whatever, but you're not supposed to use that. All right. Then you have this, like his little like thing here, like chainsaw thing, and that's on a hinge, so that moves independently. And you have the wrist, which are on a ball peg, and they swivel, but it does get, this part of the hand armor does hit up against the forearm, so it will stop at a certain degree. The thumb is on a ball peg and then has a primary and secondary knuckle. All of the fingers are independently articulated and have a... Oh, no, they're not. Sorry. I thought they were. The index finger is independently articulated, and then these are all on the same pins, like a old school Seeker. So primary knuckle, secondary knuckle, and tertiary knuckle. Same for the other side. Really nice blue, really nice paint accents on this guy throughout. This arm's the same. Now for these hips, once again, they can move forward and back, and they can also get out to the side. For pretty much the full Van Damme, I say we give it to them. Forward and back is a little limited. The thigh swivel is kind of at that hinge that I was talking about, but I think it still works. You also get one right above the knee, so it all works. The knees themselves, single hinged, that gets you a little shy of 90 degrees. Another little flap here that moves around and is kind of spring loaded. And then we have all sorts of sculpt work and all that kind of stuff down there. Same with the paint, same like it's throughout, right? Metallic blues, metallic golds, metallic coppers throughout. Ankle tilt, nothing really up. You do get a good bit down or a little bit down. This piece here will cover down if you need it to. And then you get a pretty substantial rocker, and this piece will move around as you need it to as well. Give you a little extra support. And there he is from the back. So, you know, clean. You know, well, messy, but that's a design thing. The actual figure is pretty clean. Size comparison wise, I don't really have anything appropriate to show him with, but there he is with the Magic Square Prime. Hopefully you'll be able to use that as some sort of litmus test for your collection. Let's get him transformed. Unpeg these panels from the side. This will allow you to unlock the entire leg. We're going to do that on both sides. And you want to slide his thigh into the hip. This one's already been done for us. And rotate his toes towards the front like he's pigeon-toed. And we'll start there. Open this up and rotate that out. And then bring this down, because you kind of want these tires aligned, but you want them also to be flat, and you need this piece rotated so that that peg ends up in that hole, so to speak, and then collapse the toe down, leave that up. Open up this thigh piece, bring that piece out. I think you can flip this up now. I'm not entirely sure. Now, looking at it from the side, we're gonna swing this piece around, and there's two tabs here, the males, and then the females are here and here. And just do what you gotta do to make that connect. And you might have to adjust the knee a little bit in order to do so. Goodness. There's one. And there's the other. You want to spin this piece out. It's spring loaded. Rotate that up. This piece comes down and kind of fills in the puzzle piece. And just leave it like that for now. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So open this up, rotate it down so that the tires will align. On this side, you need for this piece to line up with the foot or feet, and then collapse that section. And you can open this thigh plate and get out the smokestack, as it were, and then flip this entire piece around, and there's two male tabs there and there that'll correspond to female slots there and there. And their armory. I'll mess with that here in a second. Then we want to do something here, am I right? Oh, this black piece. So flip this out, it's spring loaded, and then rotate that up, and then take this piece and fill in the puzzle. And you probably can't see that because of the hand, but there. And then we have to get the hips connected. So take these pieces that I told you can be a bit of a pain, tuck them in tight, so to speak, rotate the universal joint like he's gonna be kicking straight out, and that will help you as you bring forward the rotating Y joint, basically, where it was a T joint that we talked about that kind of acts like a thigh swivel. And then you got to kind of start connecting, and we're looking to connect here at the knee, and then down here in the feet with this tab in here kind of locking, and then this section plugging in. Now we have to do a little bit of prep work. So get this piece down. I always forget to do it. These pieces out, because we want this open space here. And if you look, there's these silver bars that kind of keep his shoulders in place, well, they help keep his shoulders in place. So we're gonna pop those up. That'll allow us to untab them from here. This is an on retab, so just be aware of that. Same on this side. Out. And this comes open. There's these pieces that'll be stored in there. Just remove them. And I don't think they're meant to be stored. I think they're meant to stay in place, but they come out, so just remove them. And now you're kind of left with this. And then we'll move forward from here. So our next step is to kind of get the cab sorted. You got to pull out the doors and sort of flip the front windshield around. Take these bars here once again, flip the tires out, and then spin this around in a manner as you manipulate these side pieces here and try to keep everything in line. But you want to bring this down so that these bars hook in to the corresponding spot at the bottom. And you got to just make sure that everything is right. So there, that looks pretty close. There's one. And this one is far, oh, here, part of the reason is there. 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 Sheesh. All right, we'll start working on the shoulders. So you need this bit to be facing the opposite direction, and you need this tab spun around so that it'll meet on a female side on that end. And then come on, dude. We gotta peg it together somehow, so to speak. There. Goodness gracious. All right, then we're gonna flip this flap. We got a lot of flaps to flip. We're gonna flip this flap. We're gonna bring this down. We're going to open this flap. We're gonna spin it and fill in as flat a surface up here as we can. Let's get that far on the other side. So rotate the shoulder so that the shoulder pad is facing down. We're going to spin the bicep so that it meets with this side of the door, so that that will peg in. Oh, grief. Then we're going to, oh, that just came loose. Snap that connection loose and open this flap, flip that down, flip this down, spin this, and flatten that surface. I got the forearm. So open that, spin this around, spin that towards the back, and then this out to 90 degrees, I believe. And we're going to do that on this side as well. Open, spin down, spin around with the clowns from out of town. Then we're going to take this piece, bring it down, spin it around, and just have it ready. And we're going to make sure that when we go to close these pieces around, we'll open all this up, that these pieces are on the inside loop. Otherwise, they'll get in the way. And we want to spin them back, just sort of streamline them as much as possible. And then we're going to bring these around. And down on both sides, and we're going to connect this male to this female. And we want these like razor things to be up underneath here. God bless it. There. Clean all that up a bit. I'm going to tighten this up a taste, but that's what we're looking for. And then we're going to bring the door up, plug that in best we can on both sides. And then on the front, begin lifting the windshield. As you do, you can kind of open up these as well. Oh, good night, moon. Did I just break that? Let's hope not. No. Just do what you got to do to get that open there. And then you want to bring up the windshield. Bring these probably in front of the windshield to get the clearance. Oh my God. All right, dude. Bring this up. Tab that in. I had to keep pressure on it. Something must not be 100% right. I'm sure there's a few things that aren't. Spin this around. And then tab this in. To the side. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm just getting you through the motions at this point. I'm going to have to go back in, obviously, and touch her up. You know, so that all of this kind of matches up. And then once you have it in place, you can put these pieces back in. Because I guess they just fall out when they're in robot mode. And then to finish the cab off, you got to get these pieces up and over. They're on a double hinge. And on the back, you gotta get these pieces. I'm not gonna be able to do this, but these pieces come down. There's tabs there that are supposed to meet up with here. As you can see, mine aren't quite lined up right, so I'll have to work on that. And then these two pieces come around and lock and key like a Netflix show. And then this is coming undone. Move the smokestack out to the side, bring this smokestack up. These go together, and you do the same thing on this side. Once again, it's got to be lined up a little bit better than what I have it right now. So, ooh, mama, I'll clean it up for the next 3 hours, do the best I can, and then we'll take a look at it. This is the best I could do, and it's not great. As you can see, I can't, like, this is it's awful. It's just an awful experience. It's amazing what they've done and how they've done it, but it's just not fun. Like, a lot of times these companies, they'll just engineer the fun right out of something. It's too much. It's too much. But I would imagine if you can get all this lined up without pulling your head off of your shoulders, that you would be able to enjoy it. I think there's some really nice paint stuff, like this metallic blue. I think the silver looks good on top. Everything's fully painted. The black on black wheels look good. I would imagine that if you can get this one side, I can't get quite right. And I've messed with it now. And like, even though I got this side right, but now this side, like the side of the truck, is kind of in worse shape, you know, than this side, which is in better shape. But it's a pain. It doesn't mean it's not impressive for what it's doing, because the robot basically turns inside out, and that's cool. It's just not fun, you know, and not fun at all. Certainly not as fun as Tiger Tracks. There he is sitting next to him. Let's talk about the negatives. And the biggest negative, obviously, is the transformation process. I know we're coming right off of the heels of it, so it probably gets tired of hearing it, but I gotta say it one more time. It's not fun. It's the opposite of fun. It's anti-fun. It's a curfew. It's being put on restriction. Not a good time. It's a pain. It's frustrating, and it doesn't want to do you any favors whatsoever. It is not your friend. It doesn't want to be your friend. It's not trying to be your friend. It has no interest in being your friend. It doesn't even want to be your frenemy. It doesn't like you, and it wants you to know it. The only other real issue that I have with it is some of it is not fun to kind of articulate in terms of using the action figure engineering that's built in. A big part of that has to do with those two kind of tubes that sit on his waist that prevent the hips from moving cleanly. It prevents the waist from moving cleanly. You got to constantly kind of adjust it and mess with it, and as a result, once again, not fun. And that's kind of what this guy boils down to in terms of my criticisms, is that it's just not a fun piece. It's impressive in a look what I can do sense, but it's not fun at all. And neither was the review process, I'll have you know. Nate owes me a drink, a stiff one, so to speak. But that's my biggest issues here. And then obviously the windows falling out, the side windows falling out is a bit of a bummer as well. Positives wise, while we recognize that it's not fun, and believe you me, it's not, at the same breath, we have to admit that the engineering of this thing is quite impressive. What they were able to do is quite impressive. How they hid a whole truck is quite impressive. And then how that truck hides a whole robot is also quite impressive. It's articulated fairly well. It comes with an appropriate amount of accessories. I wouldn't have cried if it came with a little bit more. The materials feel good. There's tons of ratchets and hardware and stuff in there. It does pose well, and it's fully painted. So if you like the aesthetics or you like really challenging transformations, I can definitely recommend it. It's not a bad thing. It's just not fun. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.